Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Getting Close Up, the show focused on independent artists and creatives. I'm your host, Danielle Cox. You know, they always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And my guest today has been an integral part of producing 5 Alarm Flames of the musical kind. Today, we are getting close up with Cody of Code Red Productions. Hey.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that intro. A little where there's smoke reference. I appreciate that.
All right.
Yep.
You know, I be trying sometimes. I just want to start out by saying, and we kind of mentioned it off camera, but I'm going to say it now on camera. I've been really impressed with what you have what you've been able to do, what you've managed to accomplish for the artist community, and just how long you've been doing this.
Appreciate it.
Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah. I know, like, you lock in and you start doing this, and before you realize it, 5 years went by, you know what I mean? So, but it's been, I feel like sometimes we're just getting started right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, where we're at right now is like just the beginning still, I feel like sometimes, Yeah.
It always feels like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years. We were talking about it, and sometimes it feels like it's 20 years ago, and sometimes it feels like it's 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like, thinking back, because you have a good amount of experience doing live production.
Yeah,
that's kind of like where a lot of it started, and a lot of crazy stuff happens in live production. Thinking back, is there a particular moment that was like really crazy as far as something went wrong, something went nuts, and you had to try to figure it out?
Well, I got some horror stories, that's for sure. If you want to talk about what went wrong, plenty of those stories. But, some of them that are instantly come to me when we say, what's something that happened that, kind of went terrible? I did a Kirk Franklin show at the Kansas City Music Hall. And, like, for some reason, there was a ghost in all the audio gear. It was going crazy. But we made it work. Kirk Franklin was an awesome guy. His band was awesome. They were, like, supporting me through everything. I was struggling.
Oh, man, that's dope.
Some other stuff, some crazy moments, like I worked a festival one time doing live production, and Post Malone, this was before he blew up.
Oh, wow.
And so he just showed up. He had his laptop. He's like, I need auto-tune. We hooked it all up, and like, it was before he was big. Isn't that crazy? Like,
that is crazy.
Yeah. And so like doing live sound, like you work with a lot of artists that are like on the come up, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like you have these moments with people before they become who they are now, which is crazy to think about. Chance the Rapper I worked shows with before he was big too, stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow, that is so freaking cool. I mean, I think about that oftentimes as I'm doing this too, like seeing people on the precipice of becoming big. Mm-hmm. And it's like the level of professionalism doesn't change.
Right.
It doesn't change because you need to help them with their sound in order to have them be their best.
Yeah.
And then it's like you become the most trusted person in the room.
Yeah.
Like the most trusted person in the room. And that also conveys over into being a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit too about some of the moments you've had working one-on-one with people.
Yeah.
Where the experiences that you've gained and learning how to be that most trusted person, how that conveyed over to working in the production studio.
I think like the live production moments really, like when you think about it, like they're happening live, right? So it's like the pressure of being in the studio sometimes is almost like non-existent compared to that. I feel like I've done big festivals. I've done, Madison Square Garden, like doing live production.
Crazy.
So like when we get in the studio, that's chill to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we can mess up and we can just run another take. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like it's not a big deal. But also like I've been producing for a few years now, so I know the tools I have. I know what we need to do to make it sound good. You know what I mean? So just through my experience, like been doing this for a few years, you're like 99.999% of the time, whatever the artist is thinking, we can make that happen. But if we're comparing my live stuff to my studio stuff, it's a whole different level of pressure doing live events. So
I can only imagine, because it's like it's a one-shot thing.
Right. And like as a live sound tech, or if you're a showrunner or whatever you're doing, you're almost performing live with the band, right? You're putting on a performance as well. Like you're in the moment doing it live, and it's all one take for everybody watching. You know what I mean?
And you did stuff like that for about 10 years.
Yeah, I was locked in for that for a long time. So short little story about me. I went to engineering school right up the street up here at BRC Audio, which is on 10th and Parallel. A really cool recording studio. But after I finished up their program, it was a little 2-year program. After I finished up, I was like, okay, how can I go get a job right now?
Yeah.
And live events is everywhere all the time. So
Right.
they're always looking for people. So that's when I jumped into that.
So like, how though?
Yeah.
Like, how do you find those opportunities to be like, okay, how does somebody else decide to trust you to pull you into their team?
Well, there's a couple big companies around town that do live events, and you know, I feel like they're kind of niche, so most people don't know about them, right? People aren't really seeking out big production companies, but there are some really good big ones in town.
Mm-hmm.
So through my school at BRC, they kind of put us on to like, you know, here's a path for you. They kind of taught us that like being in the studio isn't the only path to being, you know, in the sound world, in the engineering world, in the producing world. There's all these other things you can do.
Such a diverse path.
Right. And so they were like, you know, being in live sound is a career path that some of you might take. And then so, you know, I looked at that as an opportunity to start working immediately. I feel like if I would have just tried to go straight into the studio out of their program, it would have taken me still years and years and years to build where I am. You know what I mean?
That's really important.
Yeah. So it's like that gave me an opportunity to get started like now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can imagine they're looking for people.
Right.
It is like you said, there's always live shows. Kansas City has a lot of that going on.
So many venues here too.
All the time.
Yeah,
like you can do something small, you can do something big. There's tons of festivals here. There's a lot of opportunities.
And I did kind of do all the levels of all that. Like I said, these production companies, I did some work for them. You know, the Riot Room in Westport, Record Bar, all these smaller venues, I worked there too. You know what I mean? So like, I was really, really locked in doing live sound, like you said, for 10 years almost. But it's just like being in the studio. I was doing it every day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's really cool. And getting into the studio part, I talked to almost everybody that I talked to as a creative. 2020, for some reason, was just so pivotal.
Bingo. For me too. Like, nailed it.
And when I find that it's so common in everybody that I've talked to, I just like, it blows my mind. So, and I think it's like the oncoming of a new renaissance almost out of that terrible, terrible pandemic, out of everything that happened.
It was like almost a pivotal moment for the world, it seems.
It really was. But for creatives, it was like a boom. It was like a second coming of creatives.
I feel like so many of us were just locked in the house, so all we could do was be creative, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's when I switched to the studio stuff, because concerts disappeared for like almost a year and a half, 2 years.
Crazy.
There was nothing for me to do.
You went from having all this live stuff to do to nothing.
Right. So at that point, you know, I went to school because I wanted to be in the studio. I loved making music. I loved making beats and all that. And at that point, 2020, no more shows. It kind of just forced my hand. And I said, you know what? If I'm ever going to do it, now's the time to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then too, like, how do you find the resources to just go ahead and build a studio?
Yeah.
Like, even starting with the one in your home. Let's talk about that first, because a lot of people are starting there as well.
Yeah. So I was working, and it was a slow, very, very, very slow process on my home studio before the pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. But when the pandemic happened, I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish this thing so I have a spot to work at the house. I'm going to be stuck in here all the time. I want to have a spot to work at the house. Right. So I finished my basement studio. It was very small, very compact, but it was what we needed at the time. We could do everything we needed to do, vocal recording, you know, producing, making beats, all that stuff in there. And it was comfortable. It was really cool for a home studio, I would say. Right. And then from there, I just, through like the next 4 years, just locked in and grinded in there till the operation basically became too big to have at the house. My wife was awesome. Like, okay, this is enough, because it was basically a full-time studio at the house. And so at that point, you know, I was blessed to be working with a bunch of artists that, you know, trusted me, like you were saying, built the trust with them. And so it was like, okay, I've managed to, you know, gather this clientele. It's enough that I can, you know, step out the house, get this facility, and trust that it's going to work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a big daggone step.
Yeah, it is.
It's expensive. All that equipment is so expensive.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How do you even, I mean, you had enough experience to really even know where to start.
Yeah.
But what was the difference between knowing what you need and then having to go get it?
So even when we opened the new spot, it was a slow grind to get it going. So there's a couple studios in the new spot. There's 3 actually, one of them being a podcast studio. Mm-hmm. And it's not like we just stepped in and all of them were open at once. Like, we started with the smaller studio to start, and I worked in there for probably 6 months almost before the next one got open. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm working in one while I'm working on the next one. So it was a process to get it all open. So
that's smart.
Yeah. And it was scary, like at first, because it's like, oh man, like I've committed to this and like I got to do it.
You're being a full-time artist.
Yeah. So it was a process to get it all going. So I won't say like I just jumped in fully. We did with like getting the facility, but each room took a little bit of time to get going.
Now, as far as what you do, let's talk about everything that you have the capacity to do with these multiple studios. You mentioned the podcasting. What are all the services that you provide?
So we offer recording, mixing, mastering, voiceover work, all the above. We have 3 studios. Our Studio A at Code Rep Productions is our largest studio. That's where you could do band recording, live instrument recording, but also vocal recording, beat production, mixing, mastering, all the above. Our Studio B, I always tell people that come in to see Studio B, I'm like, what you're seeing right now is kind of what my original basement studio kind of looked like. We just transplanted it. So it's a smaller studio just made for really vocal production and beat making. So we kind of keep that one to that. It's a little smaller, like I said. And then our Studio C is our podcast studio. So me and my buddy Scorpio, who works at the studio as well, we have our own podcast, but we facilitate, other podcasts in there as well.
That's really cool. I mean, I like how it's kind of different things for different flavors. Do you tailor to a particular type of, like when it comes to as a production studio, do you get a certain type of musician more than others, type of artist more than others?
Yeah, I'd say myself, I focus mostly on hip hop music. Scorpio, our other engineer there, he focuses more on like neo soul music, hip hop music as well. We have a couple more engineers that are on the come up there. We have DJ Matters, who engineers there now. She focuses more on like K-pop and electronic music and hip hop as well. And then we have a couple other engineers. They're not quite started yet, but I feel like we have between our engineers, we have like a diverse music background. And just to throw this in there, like I grew up playing rock music and stuff too, so I have an ear for that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the live music, it's a lot of rock doing that as well. So
nice.
Not that I don't focus on rock and stuff. I just really am locked in with a bunch of hip hop artists right now, so that's what I do. But like all kinds of music,
That's really cool. Let's talk about your team just a little bit more.
Yeah.
How did you go about finding people to work with?
Yeah, so Scorpio season.
Scorpio season.
Yeah. He is an artist himself. And so I was recording him at the home a lot before he came on board to the studio. But I knew that he was in town working at different studios himself, engineering, learning. He's young, a lot younger than me, so he was really on his come up on learning during the time that I was recording him at the house.
Oh, cool.
And so when I transitioned, I said, I want somebody I can trust, somebody I like being around all the time to start. You know what I mean? So Scorpio, he came in, he was the first guy we hired, and he's been locked in with us for over a year.
That's really awesome. I think it's so dope how sometimes you find if you just start, it comes to you.
Yeah.
The people that you need, the things that you need, the knowledge that you need, the opportunities just start coming to you.
Yeah.
I love that. Now let's talk a little bit more about yourself. You kind of mentioned that you were into rock. Have you been an artist? You ever been
I've played in bands. I used to play a lot of guitar growing up. I've kind of pushed that to the wayside as I've gotten more into the production and the engineering. I kind of focus on those things more now. But growing up, I played guitar nonstop, and then I played in quite a few bands. I grew up, my dad was playing in bands all the time, so I was around rock music and stuff all the time. Yeah. And but at the same time growing up, I loved hip hop, loved hip hop, loved Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, all the people that were around early 2000s. And so when I was in high school, I got into beat making and stuff. So but that was just for fun, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then once I went to school and all that, found out what engineering was, that's when I really locked in on the production stuff. But I was always around music and stuff growing up, and I would have called myself an artist back then, playing guitar and playing in bands.
Yeah.
But ever since I've made the transition, strictly producer engineer.
Yeah, it's funny how you find how you start and where you end up.
Yeah.
Like you love music and everything, but it's the technical side of it.
Yeah.
And the creativity within the technical side is what really drew you
And
in.
I feel like as an artist, the artist that I enjoy the most, I want to hear like what your message is. You know what I mean? I like to have some, like, I want to understand the depth to what you're saying and what your message is behind your music. And I feel like a lot of the time, I'm not the one that I want to hear convey a message that I want to hear. Does that make sense? I don't have the story that I want to hear. I don't have the things to say. Does that make sense?
Right.
But somebody that does, I can help them.
You can help them and
yeah.
tune that.
Right.
That's a really good point. And it leads to my next question. So what is it that you feel uniquely that you bring to what you do as a producer and a sound engineer?
I just feel like I have an ear for, you know, what things should sound like, where you can go with who you are creatively. Like, not only like with the music and the audio, but like visually, I can help you see what the video could look like. I can see how you could present yourself. I can see how you could present it on social media. I don't know. I just feel like I have an understanding of like the total artist package. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's some expansion coming mentally.
Well, we've already gotten to the content game, that's for sure. So we film a lot of content now for artists. You know, social media content is so big now, so we've been doing that as well. But yeah, but I do also do like artists that I work with. You know, I might pull up to a music video and be a producer on the set of the music video and stuff like that too.
Yeah, it's just, again, more things just coming to you like a magnet.
Yeah.
That's so great. Now, one thing, kind of switching gears a little bit, you working with so many different artists really have your finger on the pulse of the trends and the things that are happening and the way things have changed.
Yeah.
Even since you were doing live, when you had your home studio, up till now, there's been so many things that have changed. You had the streaming that was so big and everybody was trying to push that. And now there seems to be another flip happening. Like, we're going backwards but forwards. What do you think is the main driver behind why artists seem to be going towards physical media back? You know, like, we're going back again.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think it's all about ownership and monetizing the music, right? The main complaint about streaming is that nobody's making enough money off of it.
Yeah.
1 million streams is like, you know, $1,500 or whatever it is these days. I don't even know. It changes a little bit here and there. But like, that's crazy, right? That seems crazy. If 1 million people listen to your song, you don't even make $2,000. That's crazy. And so I feel like we're moving back into, you know, there's always been some nostalgia, I feel like, for the last 10 years or so, for all the times we had CDs. You had to go to the store and buy it. You had to commit to buying an album, right? And I feel like we're kind of moving back to that because artists want to take the ownership back from streaming and say, you know, my art is worth something. I should be able to make $5 every time somebody buys my mixtape or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, artists, I say this all the time because I work with artists so closely and I'm constantly asking them for money at the studio.
Yeah.
It's expensive being an artist. It really is. You got to pay. You're the person that pays for everything, especially if you're an independent artist. So I feel like people are trying to find a way to, you know, how can I take this back and monetize what we're doing? How can I make money off of this? And moving back to physical copies is one of the, like, no-brainer ones. You know? Like, it's a double-edged sword, though, because streaming is so accessible.
It is. It's
like, I feel like if you don't put your music on streaming, you're alienating a bunch of potential audience. But at the same time, I completely understand, like, wanting to take ownership back and make money off of your music. Say you were selling your physical album copy for $10, right? You only have to sell 200 copies to make that same 2,000 that 1 million streams took. Makes sense? So it's like, I completely understand that.
And it's crazy because I remember when streaming, well, we're not going to, because, like, I'm a huge fan of Prince, and like, he's like one of the pioneers of that. He created his own thing to stream his own music. Right. He created the MPG Music Club and all of that. But I remember when streaming platforms became big, it was kind of touted as the new thing that would help artists get their music heard and help them get paid. And then this hustle culture behind pushing your music and that holding hands with social media. Now you have to be a social media mogul in order to get your music heard. And then on top of that, it was, well, because you're not making as much money as you thought you were going to make, but you have to do all this hustle. Now you got to sell merch. So now you got to know how to make t-shirts. Like, it seems like all these other things had their hand in a pot way before we even knew.
Yeah. And that's usually what it is. Sometimes it feels like we're chasing what's happening, right? And maybe, maybe everybody going back to physical copies is them trying to force what's going to happen next instead of trying to chase what's happening. Like, I feel like I said we were filming content and stuff now, right? We do that out of necessity.
Yeah.
We don't do that because we like...
Most artists don't want to do it.
Right. They really don't. And I get it. Most artists want to create art. But in the age we live in, so many people are out here making art now. It's so accessible to make art. It's easier than ever to make it. So I feel like the only way to, be out here is to show people you're out here.
You have to.
And that's where people are at, is social media, right? And before that, you're right. Streaming, it was like, oh my gosh, like I got everybody's music on my phone now. This is crazy and cool. But we didn't see like that it was going to be like, oh, it doesn't pay anything. You know what I mean? So it's like...
They always find a way to kind of undermine.
Right.
To get you running.
And social media almost feels like the same thing, right? Like everybody's like the algorithms. You got to do this for the algorithm. You got to post at this time. You got to do all that. You can't even move freely within that, really.
You can't even move freely within that.
Yeah.
Like, it takes the creativity away from you.
It really does. And I think that's all because that's all the business side of music business, right? So I tell people all the time, the music is the easy part. It really is. It's everything else that is the hard part. Like you said, the streaming platforms, the social media, the merch, that's all the hard parts.
Yeah. And it's like, if we could set up a model where that we have a new thing where people are like yourself are managing that part, so creatives continue to be creatives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it can work in partnership.
Yeah.
Not to mention that, where can you buy a CD player?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother market that's gonna have to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then on piggybacking on that, we now have to contend with AI.
Right.
Like, as if everything else wasn't just depressing enough, now we have to worry about AI. And I have heard some arguments from other producers on different levels of maybe it's not as scary as we think it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not. Maybe there's a way to help it, make it win. But again, I'm kind of traumatized by what I was telling you earlier, how we thought streaming was going to be helpful. And, so what is your take on it?
I think AI is a great tool. And I think that just ignoring it is a huge mistake if you're a producer or artist. But I also feel like, I don't know, it's like, I don't think that we should be like, let's say like the Janaya Monáe artist.
Yeah.
I'm not into that, to be honest with you. I can respect that she, the creator of it, had the hustle to do that and it's working out for her as a business. That's respect. I can do nothing but respect that. Right. But as far as artistically, it's hard for me to work in this every day with real artists and then look at that. And it's like a cheat code, right? Like you cheated. But as a tool, we have to pay attention to what the tools can do for us. It's like Prince said. He said, get on the computer. Don't let the computer get on you.
See?
And that's what I feel like is happening with a lot of people with that. And I don't know. In my world, it's like you got to have almost 1 foot in it and 1 foot out of it. You can't get into it completely, but you got to use it. If you don't use it, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah. So what is something that you know now that you wish Cody in 2020 would have known?
I don't know if there's just one thing that I wish I would have known, but it's just like the experience that I've gained. Like, I'm not afraid to be in these rooms. I'm not afraid to, be put on the spot. I'm not afraid to create in front of other people. Like, when I first started, those were like fears of mine. Like, oh no, what if they don't like what I'm doing? It was almost like I was afraid to create from scratch in front of people. I was afraid to just play something in front of people. But I've got over that, because it's like almost like if I want the artist to open up and be vulnerable with their art, I got to be there with them doing that. And it's just like, don't worry about like what other people are thinking. That's really what it is. Like, I had to get over like what everybody I felt they thought about me. You know what I mean?
Managing other people's perception.
Exactly.
Because you can't really do that because you don't know what's going on in their head.
Exactly.
They could be very well impressed with something that you think you're embarrassed of.
Right. Exactly. And it's like I had to get over that hump when I first started, because artists would come in and be like, yo, like, let's just make something. I'd be like, well, let me just play some stuff I already did or whatever. And it's like, because I thought like that sitting in there with them in that creative process would make me look like an amateur or something. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So I had to get over,
so.
I had to get over that. And now it's like, sure, we can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like they probably feel the same way a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to probably come in, especially as a new artist, and get on the mic and, you know, show us your voice. And especially if you're a new artist and you don't have a lot of experience doing that, the first time getting on a mic and hearing yourself and it actually sounds professional and good, and they're just like, okay, am I actually good? Am I bad? You know what I mean? So it's like, just had to get over what you said. Manage other people's perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what because we just had a, last season, we did a producers panel. We had 3 people on, and that was, we talked a lot about the kinds of, we called it mind games that you have to play with the artist and with yourself sometimes in order to get a good performance out of them and help them let down their guards and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, what is one of your tricks to getting somebody to open up outside of just showing your own vulnerability, which you mentioned?
You know, it's always, you got to let people down easy too when you think like they could do something better as well. I'm just like, yo, you could do that better. Like, because then it makes them feel probably like that last thing they just did was not good. So I try to be like, yo, if you just try this, but add like 1% more edge to it, you know, just tell them that they're almost there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, hey, try it again, but like on this part, like give me like 2% more vibrato on the end of that note, just like 2%. then they feel like, okay, like I got it. I'm almost like I basically had it, but let me just try to give it that 1 or 2% more. Does that make sense?
No,
like,
it does. It's like it kind of, because like you say, oh, well, how much is 1 or 2%? That lets them think about it.
Exactly.
That makes them think about what it is they need to do.
And it makes them feel like they had it already. They just need to try it again. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, that wasn't it, run it back. It's like, okay, well, now they're going to get self-conscious about what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And as a producer, it's your job to help make sure they don't go into that place.
Yeah.
You want them to keep them in that flow state where it's just coming easily to them, or they feel like it is, right? And so you got to let people down softly, and you got to build them up. Don't tear them down.
That's very important.
Yeah, like as an artist, you don't want to be ever told that your art isn't good. Like, what Tech Nine say, it's my art and I'm sensitive about this. So it's like,
or even Erykah Badu, I'm an artist, I'm sensitive about
my exactly. So it's like, and as a producer, I'm sensitive about my music too. If I play a beat and they don't like it, I might get sensitive about it. But also, like, it's my job to build them up. And so just by letting them down softly when I think they can do something better, hey, you almost had it. Let's just try it one more time. You almost had it. You were there. That's my tricks. Like, let them down softly.
Let them down softly.
Yeah.
I like the way that sounds.
Yeah.
I'm really appreciative of, again, what you're doing, how you're doing it. We need more people in this space that are thinking about the artist first.
Thank you.
And I think that's really, really important because they're already faced with a world that's putting them last.
Yeah.
That needs what they give, but still wants to put them last.
Right.
And that can be very daunting, but knowing that you have people on your side who will help you get there and can help you see the vision that you don't see yourself.
Yeah.
It's so important to this community. So I'm just really appreciative of it.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Now there's one more thing that I need you to do. And I thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge. But I want you to get up and make your mark on the wall of fame for me.
You got it.
And I'll go ahead and do my close. Well, that wraps up our show today. I mean, you had to get something out of that. It was insane. Thanks so much to Cody of Code Red Productions for being here and joining us. New episodes of Getting Close Up air weekly. Check us out. We've increased the season. We're doing so much, and we want you to be there and be a part of it. If you want to be a guest on the show, head over to our website at thesaint.com and fill out our guest request form. Give us your information, and we can have you here in this purple chair. Thank you guys for watching. You are the best part of all of this, and I'll see you again soon for another close up. I'll be checking for you. Bye.